Hey, what's up, guys? Red Robin here. Today I'm going to be doing a top 5 Batman comic books, in my opinion. Now, this is my first video, so some of the things are still going to be being tweaked out. Camera, editing. Camera I'm going to update eventually fairly soon. Editing, it's going to be a working process, as I'm going to be learning how to do YouTube. But let's get started. Number 1, The Killing Joke. By far one of the best books I have ever read. With writer Alan Moore, artist Brian Boland, and color artist John Higgins. This is a first issue, first print. My fiance bought it for me a few years ago. Read it one time. It's only been opened that one time. And the seller contacted us and told us that it hasn't been open when he had it. By far one of the best comics that I've ever read. In this, you get the origin of the Joker. You get to see his backstory. What makes him him from the beginning. His journey through being a struggling comedian and his kind of sad home life with struggling to try and keep his family together. His wife, unborn child, and just all in all the downfall that happened to make him who he is. If you guys haven't gotten a chance to read this book yet, please go out and buy it and read it. It's the last time I checked, it was like $13 to $20 for a more common reprint. I'm pretty sure you can get this in hardback now. At the time that I got this, that wasn't available. Next up, Batman Blackmere. This is by Scott Snyder as your writer, Jock Franciglia, I hope I didn't, I know I butchered that, I'm sorry guys, as your writer, and Francesco Franciglia, his brother I'm assuming, as the color artist. In this story, it takes place when Dick Grayson is Batman. And in it just, Dick Grayson sees that Gotham isn't as, it's a lot darker than it used to be. It's not as, I guess, good. Not that Gotham's ever been good. But it takes place with him taking over the mantle as Batman. Something that he's done a few times throughout the history of Batman. But it's definitely something he doesn't seem to like. And the main protagonist in this is a dealer of antiques. And this dealer is selling artifacts of supervillains. One of the things that he's selling that I can remember off the top of my head is the crowbar that was used to kill Jason Todd. And it doesn't sit well with Tim. If you haven't read this, pick it up. This, I got it at like Books A Million for like $10. Definitely a good read, and it's right before the New 52, which kind of messed up DC Comics, but that's when I started reading. Next up, Batman Hush. This book, my fiance ended up buying it for me as a absolute, which was my first absolute, and I absolutely love this. And your artists are Joseph Loeb as writer. I probably messed that up. The iconic Jim Lee as your artist. And Scott Williams as your inker. I can't give you guys an exact numbers in this book, like pages, but if you get an absolute, you get the entire hardback story. And the print is blown up. It's much bigger than a regular comic book in size. You also get rough sketches in the back of art that's throughout the series or book. And you also, which I thought was a good inclusion, you get an interview with the artist who helped make the book. Right now, this one is being interviewed. The interviewee is Jim Lee, and he talks about his art that he did in this. with the Hush series, Batman is fighting a new villain that he's never seen before, who is named Hush. I'm not going to tell you guys the identity of Hush because it was definitely something that threw me, and I enjoyed it immensely. But in this, you also get villains like Poison Ivy, the Riddler. Superman makes an appearance in this, but not in the way you would think. Harley Quinn's in it for everyone who loves Harley Quinn. Definitely a must read. Like I don't even want to explain anything about the series because I want you guys to go out and read this. It is so good. After that, we have Batman Nightfall. Now, with Batman Nightfall, this was from, where is the date? 93. So this came out before I was born, guys. But in this series, you have an assailant who systematically weakens and exhausts Bruce Wayne to where he can no longer be Batman. There is an altercation that happens between the assailant, Bane, and Batman that they made a movie about, if you guys remember. It's loosely based off this series, but it still shares some similarities. And what happens is Batman can no longer be Batman. He can't go out on patrol because of what happened. And so he has someone help him, whose name is John Paul Valley. John Paul, in my opinion, he kind of goes like ego trip and power trip, and it's not good, like at all. He tarnishes the name of Batman, and it's not good. But the whole series it reads so nicely. I mean, if you get this in the original issues, like issue by issue, which I have, it's kind of hard to read because the paper, you don't want to rip it because they used like regular paper. It wasn't like that plasticky feeling paper or a laminate paper. But in this, you get Batman, John Paul Valley, Alfred makes an appearance in this, Bane. I mean, as you can see on the cover, the Mad Hatter, which is one of my favorite villains. Nightfall was definitely what helped make Batman what Batman is. And last but not least, my favorite, Batman the Court of Owls. Even though this was in the New 52, this still was a good read. You have Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, and Jonathan Gopolian. Greg Capullo is my favorite artist, besides maybe Jim Lee and Alex Ross. Scott Snyder, though, I don't know what it is about the way he writes stories. Some people hate it. They say that he can't write, that his writing lacks luster. It explains things too much. I like that. I like a meaty read. And Greg Capullo does a great job with the art in this book. Like, Greg Capullo does so good that I actually have a Joker Greg Capullo style statue, which I'll do something about that later on. But in this story, you get Batman, who finds a new group that pops up out of nowhere, called the Court of Owls. They send someone called a Talon after him to try and stop him, to eliminate him, because he's stirring up too much problems for them. In this story, though, it's been so long since I've read it, but it's one of my favorites. But you have Batman who realizes that this organization that he's been told since he was a child about the Court of Owls, that they're not just a lullaby to scare children at night, that they're a real group. And he believes that they had something to do with the death of his mother and father, Thomas and Martha Wayne. There are twists and turns in this. You find out identities of other people close to the Waynes. All in all, in my opinion, this is number 2, with Killing Joke being number 1 in the top stories. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Is this your favorite list of the top 5, or is there something else that you would throw in and take out? Let me know in the comments down below, guys. Till next time, Red Robin, signing out.